So for today's recording, I wanted to introduce the profile tax software. And also, if we got time, I want to have a quick introduction for the slips. Those slips we always say are is always into personal tax return. So first of all, I want to open a profile. You probably won't have the authority to download the software. So you're probably going to use an online file, but that's okay because it's very similar. And the only difference is I have the software downloaded into my desktop and you just open with the online version. So I'm going to quickly open the profile. The profile software is reliable and very easy to use. And technically for most of the tax software, they're basically very similar. So I've been using Profile and also the TurboTax. They basically, and there's another one called Simple Tax. So those are very basically the same thing. Now, so when I open the profile, I wanted to create a new tax return. You always can do the previous tax return. So you could choose for 2020, so the carry forward, or 2020 T1, or you could just file for 2019 tax return. Basically, all those, they'll give you options if you use the online version to see file the previous tax return or file the current tax return. So I'm gonna quickly create a new current year tax return, which we call T1. Now, this is basically a information page. When it's very easy to find your way around profile, no matter the type of return you work with, you will always see the same profile user interface. So we use this multiple access user interface. This is the one you will see. This means no matter the type of return you're preparing, profiles, uniform menus, toolbars, and tabs are always the same. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to introduce the tabs. Every time you create a tax return profile, displays a tab for each open form. You will see the tab at the very top. Okay, you will see the tabs just above the form you're currently working in, and you can navigate to any open form by clicking its tabs. So you can see we got Infor, we got T1 General, we got T4 slips. You can always add it in, see T5. So it shows right there. Whenever you add it in, it will quickly show. So you have the option to display the form names and icon on each tab, or just for name itself. You could change it, but it doesn't matter. So we're not going to go through that. Just quickly introduction for the file. Now the menu bar. The menu bar is the file, edit, audit, go to, form, option, e-file, online, training, Windows, help. So the menu bar, as with all software applications, you can use the menu bar to navigate in profile. Using the menu, you can, for example, create or open tax return. Okay, so the file is carry forward, or there's open, so you can open it, or you have print, right? Then for each one, you will have different, you can navigate to different forms where you can do the audit. You can show the audit. We're going to go to the audit topic later. But the toolbar, so the toolbar consists of icons that let you quickly and easily move around in profile. You can view profiles 3 toolbars by clicking options, toolbar. Right, you have this under the options. So you got a toolbar. It shows audit and review marks or forms or shortcuts. Okay, now the audit and review marks toolbar allows a partner or preparer approval request changes to any line on a tax return. Why do we need to overwrite, or why do we need a auditor toolbar? Because sometimes the T4, especially when you enter your T4 informations, there's a numbers probably is not match what the software automatically calculate for you. So what you need to do, because the number probably doesn't match with what you have in your T4 and what the software calculated for you. Right, so in those situations, you need to overwrite, because always keep the same as your slips. So you do not, even though the software will calculate the numbers, but you still need to overwrite that number into whatever shows in your slips, because the CRA, the Cattle Revenue Agency, will just take a look at the T4 slips. Okay, now the other choices we could see, what else we wanted to see? Yeah, so you can see, you can add those forms into here. So you can, I added T1 summary, T4, 5, and 5 years. So you can see the 5 years tax summary from 2017 to 2021. If you have done all those through the software, so it can automatically shows up your previous tax return. Now, display options. On the toolbar, the spouse icon indicates that two tax files are open. So you will see this is a switch to a spouse form. This is switch to another family member return. So if you are, see, so right now you cannot click, right, as blank. It's because I didn't click as married. See, if I click married, then their spouse returns automatically shows up. So when you click in there, it says create a new return to spouse, right? Or if you already done spouse's return, you can open an existing return, just search the name. So that is how this works. And also, if you need to add a dependent information, if the dependent is over like 16 years or 14 years, but he has job. So if he earns employment income, then he should file tax return. And then you could just click this, switch to your family members, your kids' tax return. So that is how those two icons works. Now, I want to show the basic information sheets. So this is the basic information sheets. Whatever, when you prepare your tax return, this is a very basic first step you need to do. First of all, the person's SIN number and their name with the yellow highlighted, which is the required areas that you have to enter all the information in. Okay, so like primary phone number, your date of birth, there's serial online mail, or there's online account, or the marital status. If you're married, single, or divorced, you have to list it. If your status changed, see if you get married in 2021, then you need to add a date in there, because it will help you to calculate the spouse credit. Then if you're a common law, were you married or living common law at any time this tax year? Click yes. Okay. Then the residence, you need to put your province of residence on the last day of the last year. So this is interesting for tax return in Canada. Whenever you are living during the year, they only want you to put the province you were in for the last day of the year. So if you're in Alberta on December 31st, 2021, you just put Alberta. But if you actually working in Alberta, but the last day of last year you were in Saskatchewan, then put Saskatchewan. Okay, so this is how you're gonna calculate your provincial tax credit or tax returns, tax payable, I mean. Then you move on to, did you display, do you have every foreign property? So that is the basic question for everyone. If you have foreign property over $10,000, you need to claim. Also, did you dispose of property in 2021 for which you are claiming a principal residence exemption? So they ask you if you dispose of a property last year, which you were claimed that property as your principal residence. Okay, so if no, then just click no. For filing, you want to e-file this return. If no, then you need to print it out, everything. So you can see there are red dots, that means overwrite. Okay. Now, did the taxpayer electronic sign the T1A3? T1A3 is the form for electronic file. So if you need to send out your tax return through the profile of the software, you need to sign the T1A3. There's also a 1013, which is a authorization form, which means that you need someone else, the third party, to prepare your tax return. Then you need to sign at least two forms. One is the T1A3 for e-file and 1013 for authorization. So those are two different forms. Then, are you a Canadian citizen? You click yes or no. If you're a Canadian citizen, is related to your voting rights. So they want you, if you want to open your information to all the government departments when the voting season's coming, right? So they need to know if they can release your personal information to the related government department. And then did you own the foreign property? Right. So for over $100,000, not 10,000. Sorry, I was wrong. So if it's over $100,000, then you need to claim. Is own interest on the foreign facilities at any time? If yes or no, is taxpayer's income zero? So if you're a full-time student, you probably have zero income. Then if it's zero income, you just simply click yes, because you do not need to enter anything in there. Great. Then if it's first year claim, so watch out if you are new to Canada and if it's 2021 was your first year return, you need to paper file. You cannot e-file it. So you have to either fill in through the profile and then print it out T1 and send it in to the government. Or you could just grab the manual file from the Canada Revenue Agency or from your local post office. You can grab that manual file and just, handwriting all the information there and submit it. Because even though you're zero income, you need to file your taxes because the government needs your basic information to calculate the credit you may have. So if you're full-time students, you probably won't have any income, but you need to still file your income taxes because government will help you to calculate your GST if you have any GST rebate that you qualify for. Or if you have a child, then they need your basic personal income. You need to file your income taxes so you can claim for child tax benefits. Okay. So those are basically things and the basic information on the first page. Now, what else? The auditors, we could use the F-line. So you could see that when you click F-line, probably you won't have this in your online version though. So if you click every of the highlighted, it will circle the yellow parts, which is the mandatory space that you need to put the information in. Okay, so you double click, it says that the client's name is missing, okay? And click in there, or a postcode. So those are basic or mandatory areas that will require you to put information in. What I wanted to do now, I think that's basically very basic introductions. So maybe I want to show you to do a tax return by using the profile. So if you're choosing to use TurboTax, that's totally fine because basically the same. But for both of the software, you need to register. Remember, you need to register for free for student file. Now, I want to quickly find a basic information to do a tax return. I don't have any information there. So, for example, let's print a name. If the example or the cases give you a SIN number, you just enter as what it is. If there's no SIN number provided, you just simply put 000. Okay. Now I think I finally find one. Okay. So I have this person. The person's name is Johnny Carson, and his SIN number is 4747589. Now, and title, I think he's Mr. Personal, the first name is Johnny. And the last name is Carson. Last name changed? No, Do you want to change your address? No. So we just simply put address in there. A Smith Street. The city is Anytown, Ontario. So the postcode M48181. Number, we simple. I also need to do that. But the birthday didn't give. Okay, so I just 9800101. Okay, and then the CRA online mail. We put no. So assuming this person is single, so I just click single. There's no spouse information shows up. Were you married at any time this year? No. And if status change, enter date of change. Now the province of residence on December 31st is Ontario. If it's right, just put in there. Are you a non-resident? No. Resident status, resident. Did you dispose any foreign property? No. Use separate address for nothing. Yeah, so e-file is returned. We click yes. Did electronic sign T183? Yes. So we only take a look at those yellowish. Authorization for preparer to be contacted by the CRA, we see no. Method of contact for post-assessment, contact the clients. Okay, and then are you Canadian citizen? Yes. So do you wanted to provide your information? Yes. Did you own any foreign property? $100,000? No. Interest? No. Prepare income? 0? No. Language corresponding, we put English. So this is basically everything for the first page. Now we have to figure out what kind of slips the person has. So the person had T4 slips. Okay, so there's one T4 slips is coming from a profile 2021 tour. The employer, okay, and province of employment is Ontario. Number box 14, that is $9,000 for a whole year. And number box of 16, which shows 280.50. Then we go to box 17, 18, we go 18, that is 145.80. So for tax return preparation, it's just require your focus. So accuracy is the most important thing. You don't want to enter a wrong number. I used to work in a tax prepare institution when I was students at school. We do taxes every day during the tax season. It's pretty busy. So you have to be careful. I have seen a lot of tax prepare like only enter their employee income with one more zero or enter the income tax deducted run. That will make your tax return or refund or balance, totally different, right? So for 22 boxes, he has paid $900 income tax. And then is EIE server earnings 9,000 and 9,000. Okay, so we make sure everything is correct. Now that is all correct by entering all the T4 information. Now we are looking for a T2 to O2, which is as a student, receive a tuition slips. We need to put as profile 1, that is the university name. So box 26, that should be your tuition fees paid to Canadian education institution. So this one will be 616. Oh. 616. And then we moving on for Tuition fee to foreign education institution, there's 9. So number of months in part-time enrollment or full-time enrollment. Then you need to take a look at it. So number of months is full-time. So we have, because when you enter the tuition fee, the balance has no change. You have to enter as full-time or part-time. So the system calculate for you to give you the credit based on how many months that you have been enrolled. Okay, so this is 8 months. Now we can see the differences. Now you can see that the balance changed, right? So we have 8 months as a full-time. Yeah, that's it. So that's all we need to enter it in. So that is how that works for profile, which means when you go to T1 summary, that is the one I always see when you prepare your tax return because it summarized everything you need to know. Now you can see that it shows you the employment income under T4 slips is $9,000. The net income, it deducts the CPP over contribution. And then they give you net income, $8,974. So based on this taxable income, you had this person, Johnny, has non-refundable tax credit. Basic personal exemption for 2021 is $13,808. The CPP contribution is $254. EI contribution $142. Canada employment amount $1,257. So those are all the maximum amount. Do you see that? Now, when you add all those up, you will have times 15%. That is federal rate. So your total non-refundable tax credit is $2,319, right? Now you have total income tax deducted from your T4 slips, $900. Insurance overpayment, $3. So your total payable is $903.60. Okay. So you have your refund, $903.60. So that is how it calculated based on your T4 slips and your tuition fee slips. And based on the total income you have, the Johnny has, the system automatically calculated the GST credit because your income is less than the personal exemption amount. Then you have your GST annually with $306, which quarterly $77. You're going to receive it, or Johnny going to receive it from the government. Okay. Now they also calculate the RSP contribution limit for the following year. If there's non-RSP contribution from the previous, then the room for RSP total contribution is $1,620. So that is basically a very simple tax return for personal tax return. That's what I want to show for today.